Welcome everybody to a very special edition of the Software Showcase. Today, we are going to show you how the Software Showcase gets made. Glenn, we're pulling back the curtain and we're going to show them how we make the sausage.
Yes. Hey, I'm Glenn Oliver.
And I'm Mark Stedman, Vice President of Information Technology. Thanks for introducing yourself, Glenn.
Welcome back to WA's Software Showcase here in the bungalow. And we're actually going to kind of go behind the scenes and talk about how we make the show, but also the fact of that the bungalow is an opportunity for more than just the show.
That's right.
But a lot of other opportunities.
That's right. It's a very special week for us, Glenn, because this week our remote team, the Tech Advance team, is on site with us. We've been in meetings with them all day, so we're a little bit discombobulated, or at least I am. And we're actually excited to have a couple of our Tech Advance folks here in the studio with us today, kind of seeing how we make the show. And earlier we had about 12 of them in here kind of checking out the studio and seeing how it could be used for their own remote trainings. So we'll talk about those things at the end, about how you, as a viewer, could use this studio to do remote trainings. But let's talk a little bit first about the Software Showcase. Glenn, did you know that we now have 22 episodes of the Software Showcase in the can on YouTube?
Wow. I didn't know we could talk that much.
I didn't think we had that much to say either. Unsurprisingly, my wife said, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all."
But and I still feel like we have a lot more to show. I'm just looking at the calendar ahead. There's some really cool stuff that we've never had a chance to go behind the scenes or talk about. And thank you for all your fantastic feedback and compliments on what we've been doing so far.
Yeah.
It's really encouraging for us to explain what we're doing and how we can reach out to other departments, other people who are associated with WA, and just kind of explain and show where all this effort is being placed.
Yeah. So let's take a little tour down memory lane. A little over a year ago, which seems like a lifetime ago, frankly, we had started talking about the need for us to really advertise and market the products that we were making and to help people understand what was going on. We wanted to do a better job of communicating what our team was doing. And that was actually really before the pandemic was even kind of a thing that we thought was going to impact our work. So then, when the pandemic hit and we were less able to travel, we thought, gosh, this is like a really opportune moment for us to kind of explore the live streaming space and to see about doing that. So then...
Yeah, and if you look back then, it looked completely different. It was no better than probably your average Teams or Zoom meeting, and maybe not even that good.
Well, you would recall our very, very first attempt at this. We just had a meeting, and we had a tremendous turnout. I think 75 or 80 people joined the meeting. And then you and I both spent the entire meeting trying to mute people. So it was great. It was
it was a recording lost to time.
That was the other problem. We failed to record it. So we actually have more, but those are not in the can. So that's why we only have 22 in the can. So, then we moved over to the original recording studio, which was the audio recording studio that's also available here on campus. In case you don't know, we do have an audio recording studio, which can be used for any audio recording needs that you have. We're actually willing to help you in terms of production. Just bring in the talent, let us know what you're going to record, and we'll help you do that. We did, 15 episodes in there, something like that?
Something like that, although it was considerably smaller. Very, very shoebox. Yes, exactly. This was normal.
Yeah. It was just cozy. It got especially cozy when we brought a third guest in.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So now we've taken over a room here back in the WA building, and we're in this lovely space. So today we're actually going to break one of the rules that we have for Craig. So one of the rules for our producer is never move a camera while it's live.
Yes, that's right. I've been told that many times.
We've told Craig, okay, you're allowed to sweep the whole room to show everybody kind of what our space looks like. So Craig, let's see how it looks. That is what it looks like. That's
look at that table.
Yeah, there's our table. You're going to give us a pan there?
And our faux plant. It gets all the light it needs. None.
It grows just fine, yeah. We've got some artwork on the walls.
Trying to do it slowly. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Oh,
hey, everybody.
there's Greg.
So there's the producer desk. We've got a couple of screens. And there's our live studio audience provided by the Tech Advance group. John and Mark, nice to see you guys. Very biblical.
Oh, there's in the back you can kind of see all the cables and things that we need to grab or replace.
Yeah, we have a bunch of stuff on tap in case we need it.
Yeah. Yeah, so the room is probably, I don't know, about 15 by 30 or something like that, I would guess. In other words, if you were doing some training and you wanted to have a space where you could do some digital remote training, you would be welcome to come in and use this space. This table's modular. It can get pulled out of here if you have something else you need to do, things like that.
It's the Orson Welles table. It actually can break apart in the middle.
That's right, and
Yep.
you can walk right out. So we are, again, going to talk a little bit more about how this would be used for training, and we were very pleased to host 3 folks from the DOT team over the weekend. Spent a lot of time with them, kind of showing them how this stuff is set up and how it could work for them. They have some very particular needs, which I'm excited to talk about. But I thought
And we even learned a little bit of sign language.
we did learn just a little bit, which we're not going to practice here.
Oh,
So I thought we would just do a kind of a quick rundown in terms of the hardware that we selected and how we set it up. And the first thing I'll point out is that we've got this camera sitting here on the bench. There's not normally a camera here on the bench, but I pulled this one up here so that it could be seen. So we're using these PTZ Optics cameras. They are remote controllable for both pan, tilt, and zoom.
yeah, it's not a brand name. It's an acronym, PTZ.
Yeah, PTZ is the acronym. The company is called PTZ Optics. And we've got 4 of those here on campus. Normally 2 are across the street in the VAC for broadcasting chapels, and then 2 are in this room. But they're very modular, so we can pop them off their mounts and bring them into this room. Got one hanging on the ceiling, a couple on tripods, and then this spare sitting here on the table. Craig is able to remote control that from a board over in the producing area, which is really nice. Ironically, you can control all 4 cameras from both of those boards, so we have an identical controller in the VAC, and so you could do terrible things to somebody on the other side of the campus if you knew what you were doing. But that has never been a problem. We're also using Blackmagic ATEM video mixing equipment. So Blackmagic is one of the really well-known companies.
Should we have a camera on that? Maybe Craig kind of point to the device that you're talking about?
Yeah, I think he's actually got this camera pointed at himself, perhaps. So we're using Blackmagic video mixing devices, which let us mix in multiple cameras. There you can see Craig's workstation, and he's going to drive a little closer.
On the table close to us is a conventional soundboard.
Yeah, this audio mixer.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Oh, we're all seasick
It's
now.
a live show.
Yeah, and this is why we don't normally allow Craig to drive the cameras
Yeah.
live, because it's pretty herky-jerky. It's meant for you to get where you need to go and then stop touching it while it's live. But
That's right.
anyway, so he's got a video mixing desk there where he can integrate multiple laptop screens as well as the camera shots and things like that, and even overlay those things together, which we think is pretty helpful.
So I see a matrix of little screens on his monitors there.
Yeah, exactly. His right side monitor is called a preview, so he's got all 8 of his sources showing on the bottom. It's called a multi-view, and then on the left-hand side it's the preview, so it's the shot that's coming up, and on the right-hand side it's the program shot, which is actually what people are seeing right now.
Now, sometimes we have a guest with us, and sometimes that guest is in person, sometimes they're remote.
That's right.
How do we manage that?
Yeah, so it took a little bit of effort to figure out the best way to do that, because the trick is it's not that hard to bring a guest into the studio. You got to bring audio and video, but it's tough for them if they actually can't see what's going on the show. So earlier on, we had guests who were basically flying blind, so they could see, my camera off of my laptop. They could kind of just see the 2 of us. But if they had a PowerPoint or whatever, they couldn't see it. So what we do is we actually take a video output off of a laptop that we run up here, send that to the board, we use that to broadcast. But then I actually get a return program feed into my computer, and I send that back to the remote recipient so they can actually see live what's being broadcast out. So if they're running through a PowerPoint or something like that, they actually have an idea of what's going on. They're not just flying blind.
So normally, people that get to see this very first airing would be on Teams, but other people eventually watch this on YouTube. How does that happen?
That's a great question. So we have learned through trial and experience that although Teams does record the live streams, we do not want to be dependent on that Teams recording.
It's a trust thing.
Well, if anything goes wrong in the internet connection or things like that, that recording can either get real low quality or even just fail. So we actually have a deck that we record to here. I don't know if Craig can show it in his shot, but we have a little 5-inch video deck that's the final hop off of all the mixing that we just record onto a memory card. That's the final hop before it gets streamed out. That way, yeah, here it's coming into his shot. That way we know we have a good recording as long as we do one key thing. which
What
is
would
press
that be?
record.
I feel like I've seen that somewhere before.
And I did press record today.
Yes, the red numbers on the top of the screen there indicate that the record is running. And I'll just point out, I can actually see those numbers from here.
Oh,
so I've made a
impressive.
mental note to always check before we start broadcasting. So we record that onto a memory card, and then I upload that memory card. I copy that file onto my computer, make a few more tweaks and edits, bring in some titles and things, and then upload that onto YouTube.
Great. And what does YouTube do for you once you upload that one file?
Yeah, we put it in a playlist called Software Showcase. We then send that link out to everybody who is in the WA staff email list and things like that. It basically, YouTube just gives us a way to archive the show so that people can watch it later. With Teams, that's really not possible. You don't have that public-facing thing. So we've got 115 or 120 subscribers on our Wycliffe Associates channel now, so they'll get notified whenever we upload a new video, things like that. So if you've never watched it on YouTube and you've only ever watched it live, not that I would tell you to not watch it live because live is great, but there are some subtle tweaks that go in on the YouTube version that you would miss out if you only ever watch it live. So there's a few more titles and a little bit more fun that goes into the post-editing. Very, very light post-editing because I really don't have time for a lot of post.
So I think when I've seen back some of the YouTube videos that we've posted up there, there's some graphics that come along, like Mark will introduce the both of us, and here comes that little title. Is that something that you do in the edit, or is that something that YouTube kind of assists you with?
No, I do it all in Premiere Rush, which
Okay.
is sort of a lightweight, nonlinear video editor provided by Adobe.
So maybe we can talk a little bit about other people and how they might use this space for their projects. What kind of projects do you envision for this video studio?
Yeah, I think a great way to talk about it is to talk about the example of the DOT team, right? Okay, because it's kind of a unique case.
DOT means?
DOT meaning deaf-owned translation. So like all of our groups right now, they are travel constrained. They cannot easily go overseas and get with the people who need to learn how to do deaf translation. So we're going to look at how we can do remote translation. So Tim Maggio, who is sort of their technical wizard in that team, came to me and he said, look, what I need to be able to do is I need to be able to show multiple things at one time. So for you and I, the audio carries the content that we care about. We don't need a video of what we're saying. But for the DOT team, they need video of what's being said. Mm-hmm. So he said, I always need to have a camera that's pointed at me so that I can sign and communicate, okay? And that needs to ride somewhere in the screen. But I also need to have what I'm doing on my laptop because I'm, for instance, teaching people how to do video editing with using the video editing software that they use. On top of that, I also need a camera that shows what I'm doing with my mouse and the keyboard. Because I need to be able to show them, yeah, I'm doing this key combination, Command F or Command P or whatever it is. So I need to have two cameras and at least one video screen off my laptop. What if I need two video screens? Because I'm doing
Showing the
I'm
results.
doing
Yeah, you're manufacturing the cut, and here it's rendered, and so what does it look like?
Right. So I need to be able to move all this stuff around. There's a couple of ways to do it. You could use OBS, Open Broadcast Studio, which is a free open source software. We've used OBS some. My opinion is it's a little finicky, a little bit tough to use, and you would need a couple of computers to pull it off because you really need to run OBS on its own dedicated box. Mark's opinion. Others may disagree. That's my opinion. If you want it to be reliable, you probably need to have like a dedicated OBS machine. And you can set up amazing things. You can do all kinds of cool compositing of multiple shots and all that. But it's not simple. I mean, I'm a relatively technical guy. I played around with it. I got it to do what I wanted, but it took some time. So, where I've landed, and I think Craig's landed in the same place as our producer and others that I've talked to, is there's something really nice about having that hardware that it's got one dedicated job, and it's got buttons all over the top of it. So I'm not trying to click and find and change the thing. I just know when I want to go to this shot, I hit this button, and that shot gets laid out the way that I've set it up, and it's just what I want. So the answer to the question of, well, if I wanted to do a remote training, why would I come in here and do it instead of just running it off my laptop? If running it off your laptop works fine, then go ahead and keep doing that. But if you're in that position like DOT is, look, I need to have multiple cameras. because I've got multiple presenters. Or I really need to have multiple screens and to be able to quickly switch between them without having to wait for teams to like change to the sharing this desktop to change to that sharing desktop. We can help you with that stuff. You don't necessarily need to know all of the technical details of what we have going on in the studio. There's quite a bit going on that we haven't gone over today. We will help you with that. We will get people who will sit in here with you. If you've got what you're trying to do and you either want to live stream it or you want to record it, put it on YouTube, distribute it one way or the other, we are very happy to help with that.
So it sounds like, I might be able to come here and either use the space for actual execution of recording and training, or just literally training me. Maybe this is something I'm going to do on a regular basis, and it doesn't make sense to me to travel back and forth. But if I come here and understand the equipment and the relationship, then I know what to buy for my department and my project. Because you'll have some experience and clearly some recommendations.
Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, we have a certain amount of hardware that we have purchased, demoed, practiced with, tried out different things, and we have some of that is now surplus. It's things that we're not using in production, so we can actually either loan it out if you just have one or two things that you're going to do. We can loan that to you, ship it to you, let you have it for a few weeks and put it to use. Or if you prefer, you can come in here, demo it. If you like it, kind of figure out exactly where you want to land, and then just order it, charge it to your budget if you have a budget for it, and then you'd have it, and you'd be able to do this stuff at home.
Yeah. I think there's probably nothing, for me, I would love to be able to come here and train first and be able to take advantage of that because, again, you have all the modes of learning right in front of you. Yeah. Expert advice, time on the machines, and you might develop your own opinions. I see out here today 2 different setups that people are using today. There's one off in the corner to our right by the wall of wires. Where people are kind of playing around. That's a completely different setup than what Craig's using. It looks a lot more light, meaning portable,
right,
and maybe easier to get and set up. So that to me sounds like a big advantage.
Yeah, we put that up because we have the Tech Advance guys here this week. They're doing a lot of remote training and support. And said, hey, come on in here, test this stuff out before you buy it, and then you're going to get exactly what you want. And we have 3 different things that you can actually play with the big board too if you want. But try it all out, and in fact, you can even take it home, and if you really like it and want to keep it, you can keep it, and we'll just order another one. So the price points, I think, are pretty reasonable. They start at about $300. Now, you still have to get cameras and things, but you can buy relatively inexpensive HDMI cameras on Amazon or whatever, set up a couple different cameras for different shots that you want to do. And you can be doing really much better online training than what you can do with just your laptop and your webcam built into your laptop.
Yeah. Now, I know those people who have watched more than one software showcase knows that please feel free to send us your questions and we'll address that. But I also wanted to maybe bring up the fact that we often bring software showcases that we're excited about, things we're working on, things we're planning to work on, bringing in guests who are using our software or are executing it in the field. And we still have more to come. But if there are certain topics of things that we've touched on before or questions that you have, please send them to us. They might make a good future showcase. We're always interested in what is appealing to you, what you'd like to know more about.
Yeah.
Craig, I think, mentioned you already have a question waiting in the queue.
Yeah, that's right. We have one question so far, and that is the bungalow actually the former conference room number 3?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. If we pulled back the curtain, you'd be seeing back into, I think, HR recruiting area.
HR and recruiting, yeah. In fact, today I briefly considered whether we should pull back the curtain and allow the Tech Advance guys to stand out there, sort of like Good Morning America, where the crowd is looking through the window.
They hold up little signs.
Yeah, and then I thought, that seems like a bad idea. I don't think we're going to try that. Maybe next time.
Team Mark, Team Glenn.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Cool.
Any other questions? No. Okay. So let's take a minute and actually talk about upcoming software showcases. Another reminder: you can put in questions, and then I think we know what time it'll be after that.
All right. So in our future, we see an opportunity to meet with Roger Wurtenberger. I think we had mentioned that before. He works with Christine Jarka and the content team. He works very closely with our team, and we were very appreciative. But he's also part of the reason that we're able to get a lot of the content that originates in the software out to our end users. Probably that cooking and preparatory process. And we want to have a chance for people to meet him and see actually kind of how it's done and what his group does. We also want to come back to Orchard. It's been a long time since we've seen that product. A lot has been going on. I think last time we showed it, it was being ready for working with our partners for creating GLs, and it's just around the corner for being able to be also used for translation. Really cool stuff coming there. And we'll also be meeting with Dan Paris to talk about a role which is kind of he's kind of the, I want to say like the shortstop in baseball. Like Dan Paris is our DevOps guy, and he does a little bit of everything and makes everyone's lives so much easier. And it'd be really great to kind of focus on what that is and how that gets done.
Yeah, we also had an update today from Craig in a previous meeting where Craig talked about some pretty substantial improvements that were made to BTT Writer and Wax. So we're going to be having Craig in pretty soon. Craig may or may not realize that, but we'll be bringing Craig on out in front of the camera to be updating us on Writer and Wax as well.
Good, good. All right. Well, unless there's any other questions, something weird's going to happen. We are the subject of bullet time.
Yeah, it is definitely bullet time, and we have invited Craig to be the bullet time questioner. So this should be great.
Yeah, it should be fun. We have a few questions to get to know you guys a little bit better. So question number 1, what's one of your favorite cities you've visited?
Can I go first?
Yeah, I'm sure, absolutely.
Because I want to get the ones out that I want so that you're not going to say the same thing.
Okay.
I think my favorite city to visit is London, now followed up by Dublin. So the two of those are both just a really great, fun place to visit.
For me, it is San Francisco, domestically.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed my time in Leipzig, Germany.
Oh.
I really enjoyed that.
I've never been there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Very cool. Ice or no ice?
No ice. No ice.
Ice for me.
What's something that you'd love to learn how to do?
That is a tough one. I mean, because we already know everything.
You wish. I was going to say I'd love to learn how to be the VP of IT, but anyway, still in training.
I've always been interested in learning how to fly a plane.
Okay.
That would be cool.
Well, we know a guy.
Yeah.
This is pretty random. I bought a mountain bike a few years ago, which I then subsequently sold because this didn't work out. And I thought, I never really learned how to hold a wheelie, like go down the street doing a wheelie. And man, I tried so hard, and in my 40s, I didn't ever get there. But I still would really like to be able to pop a wheelie and hold it up and do the whole block.
Yep.
That'd be so cool, I think.
That would be super cool. Boy, I'd love to learn how to do that too. I've fallen off enough bikes to know that's probably not something.
I think my biggest problem is I was afraid to go off the back, so I would never put the wheel up high enough.
Right.
So.
All right. Favorite dad joke?
I always remind my kids, you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
Oh.
It's bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's exactly how they react.
I have so many regrets.
Have you ever asked yourself why Peter Pan is always flying?
No.
No, it's weird. I mean, he never lands.
Oh man. Okay, I'm sorry I did that. So let's go to a better question. Do you have any book recommendations for our viewers?
Yes, recently I'm about halfway through, but it's significant. I'm reading Philip Yancey's book on prayer. And what's interesting to me about that book is it's not necessarily here's how to do it. Here's another person that says, I'm really bad at this. How does this work? And what are the tough questions? And let's walk through that. And what is history and some of the best people, what do they have to say? So it's a fun struggle walking through these questions, realizing prayer. It's the most powerful weapon and probably most mysterious.
Nice. My answer is far less spiritual. I am almost finished with the James Herriot books. James Herriot, famous veterinarian in the UK, large animal veterinarian. And he's got, there's 4 or 5 novels, and I think I'm on the last one. Just have really enjoyed those. They're just beautifully written and lighthearted, and they make me feel good. So I highly recommend them.
Very good. Well, that's the end of the questions. That is bullet time complete.
All right. Thanks, Craig.
So we always have a number of, like, I think we say every showcase is special, and I think that they are. They're
Yeah.
unique. But I've also enjoyed having a studio audience, because even though they haven't been too loud, I appreciate they get our jokes.
Yeah. They've been well behaved.
It's reinforcement. I'm not sure if it's negative or positive, but they're laughing at us.
Yeah, they've been well behaved. So thanks,
With us.
guys. Yeah, exactly. Well, Glenn, it's always a pleasure to have Software Showcase, and I just want to remind folks who are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It really does helps get the word out about the work that we are doing, and we look forward to seeing you next time.